Good morning, everyone. My name is Shazia Khan. Today's session that we'll be doing is for personal and professional development in health and social care. And the learning outcome we'll be doing today, which is the final learning outcome, is learning outcome 4, which is to understand how to contribute to the personal and professional development of others. So in the last learning outcome, just to summarize and just give you a recap of what we did in learning outcome 3, we looked at a personal and professional development plan, and looked at how to identify any sort of career pathways or how to prioritize your learning needs, and looked at elements of try to put together a plan as well. So again, we looked at what personal development is, what a personal development plan is, and why we need a personal development plan, and how it's good to keep track of your personal development within your professional work or your personal life as well. And then we looked at the SMART goal in regards to the framework, which it identifies what's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. We then went on to look at 3.1, which was to prepare a personal and professional development plan within a career in health and social care. And we looked at some steps that you could follow to identify a good personal development plan. Self-assessment, and that will always come up. So every time in all the learning outcomes 1, 2, and 3, we've looked at self-assessment has come up quite a lot. So you have to do a self-assessment of yourself, a thorough one, to identify any sort of your current skills, your knowledge, your strengths, weaknesses, and your career aspirations, and to reflect on any sort of past experiences, any challenges you've had, or any feedback you've received from maybe your manager or your colleagues. And then the next step that we looked at is identifying your career goals, maybe long-term goals or even short-term goals. So identifying what you want to do. Why is it so important, Suleiman, to identify your career goals?
It's important to identify your career goals for you to achieve your objective, especially to set a timeline for you to help your objectives.
Yeah, because it's a good way to identify whether you want, long-term or short-term career goals, because, it's a way of trying to, like you said, achieve your goals.
Yeah.
Then we've got the SMART objectives, whether you're based on what your career goals are. You would put a SMART objective into place in your development plan, and whether it's specific and measurable, whether it's achievable as well, and relevant and time-bound, whether, how long you're going to do it with. So, for example, within the next 3 months, I want to lose 1 stone in weight. That's just an example of time-bound, how it is, how we want to do it, and how we want to measure it as well. I will go to the gym for the next 3 months and make sure that I lose, 1 stone. So it's an example of a SMART objective.
Yeah.
Then another step was to look at development areas. So identify any sort of development areas that you think that would help you. So it could be things like communication skills, leadership skills, whether you need any specialist training, which is external, because sometimes you may need things that align with your goals that are outside of the workplace. And some employers do send staff for external courses. Some employers don't like to send staff for external courses, but, they get a pot of money where it's CPD and they have to do it. Development activities, so research any sort of activities, if there's any courses, like I said, any training, any webinars, and make sure you pursue, if you want, a degree or a certificate, attend networking events, and mentorship and coaching as well, and volunteer. Why is it so important sometimes to volunteer?
Okay. It's important to volunteer because it helps people to also achieve their goals, as I said, because if you volunteer, it helps people to achieve their goals, and it's also motivate them to do anything that they want to do.
Yeah. Will it give you an idea of your future aspirations if you volunteer into that kind of profession?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it gives you an idea of what kind of work you're going to do. If you volunteer, it gives you an idea what your future aspirations will be. We looked at timeline and resources, and timing is very important because, you have to have a plan in place that's realistic and achievable. Monitoring your objectives and reviewing them periodically is really important. Making a track, reflecting on them is so important because you need to make sure you are able to achieve them throughout the process. Evaluation, flexibility and adaptability, and commitment to continuous improvement. We then went on to look at 3.2, which is to obtain feedback on personal and professional development. And this is all within learning outcome 2. We looked at peer reviews, why they are so important. We looked at supervisor review, mentorship and coaching. 360-degree feedback, which is, you can get feedback from multiple sources. Self-assessment, again, it's come up again. Evaluate your own objectives. Surveys, questionnaires, performance appraisal, continuous communication and continuous training. We then went on to look at adjusting the plan in response to the feedback. So feedback you're given, and you have to adjust your plan according to that. So, your plan may change. Nobody's development plan is the same. Review any sort of feedback. Feedback is really important. Identify any areas for adjustment according to that feedback. Prioritize your feedback. It may not change that much. It may change a little bit. Set clear action items and update your actions. Monitor your progress and seek continuous feedback. And, this is really important. Feedback is so important in regards to your professional development. Why do you think getting feedback is so important, Suleiman? Suleiman, are you okay?
Yeah, I think I haven't. Yeah, I'm okay. But the network is breaking a bit. That's why.
Why do you think it's so important to get feedback from, a variety of different people?
Okay, it's important to get a feedback from people, the very people, like a supervisor, because it helps you to know your strength and weakness. Yeah.
Does some people don't like feedback, do you think?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Yeah, some people don't like it. They don't like getting feedback because they think they have done everything right.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, but part of learning and part of developing is that you do things wrong. You get feedback.
Yeah.
And you improve.
Yeah.
It makes you a better person. It's like when you get an assignment feedback, it gives you feedback on, development areas. Maybe you didn't do Harvard referencing and you should be doing Harvard referencing. This is how you do it. So developmental feedback is really good. Okay, so now we're going to go on to learning outcome 4. Okay, so we've done learning outcome 1, 2, 3, and 4. Have you got any questions on, I've just summarized learning outcome 3. Have you got any questions?
No, I don't have any question.
So we'll carry on with learning outcome 4. So learning outcome 4 is, can you see the slides, Suleiman?
Yeah, I can see it.
Is to understand how to contribute to the personal and professional development of others. So it's looking at others in this place. So the indicative content for this is how an effective learning culture can support an organization and its staff. We're going to look at the characteristics of effective learning culture, prioritizing learning, value processes and practices that encourage and support continuous learning and development. We're going to look at information and knowledge sharing, open communication, valuing employees, and also look at how managers contribute to creating an effective learning culture. So facilitate learning by example, develop learning opportunities, and using coaching, mentoring, and supervision. Using appraisals, how and why appraisals is needed, and the use of appraisal techniques, the use of coaching and mentoring to support personal development, giving effective feedback on performance and progress, the use of professional supervision, facilitating access to development opportunities and considering time, cost and availability. And that's really important in any institution, to consider the elements of time and cost as well. And then performance management techniques, that's the indicative content for learning outcome 4. Okay, so looking at the key terminology, so what is effective learning culture? So effective learning culture in a successful workplace, learning culture, people know that their development is valued and time is taken. You know, personal and professional development, you know, is a huge part of any organization. So to have this culture in this organization is really important, to have this effective learning culture, you know, to make sure that everyone is valued and they have the opportunity to, you know, develop. Why is effective learning culture important in the organization? So it increases engagement, employer engagement and retention. By having this effective learning culture, you know, an organization, people, employees like to work more in this organization, so it improves productivity as well. Many organizations have been affected because they don't have this learning culture. Why do you think they've been affected, Suleiman? Do you think they don't care about their employees?
No.
Some organizations don't demonstrate a good learning culture. And if you demonstrate a good learning culture, encourages your organization for the employees to gain knowledge and are valued and rewarded. You know, if you appreciate your employees, they're going to work harder, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, and some organizations don't. They don't really appreciate their actual workers, and it's not very supportive, some organizations. But if you create this this atmosphere of a good learning culture, then, you know, people are learning and they are, you know, learning, and also they are learning a new culture, but also developing a new environment as well.
Yeah.
So an appraisal, why is an appraisal important? It's a formal opportunity to analyze your performance at work, which also offers you a chance to talk to your employer about your career plans. Appraisals are not required by law, but can be useful. Why do you think appraisals are so good? Why do you think there's a need for having appraisals?
Okay, there is a need for having an appraiser in an organization. It encourages workers or your staff to work better and happy for you.
Yeah.
And it also motivates them.
Does it make these staff feel that they are needed by the organization?
Come again?
Does it make the staff feel important?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and it shows that what you're doing, and it looks at your progress, and you're able to talk to your manager. So it's really important to have appraisals.
Yeah.
So here we've got the next one is there's a video here on creating a learning culture, which you can have a look in your own time, okay? And there's also an article that I've put on learning culture, and the link to that is there, and it's on Sage Pub, and it's an article about on learning culture and how it looks in regards to what is learning culture and why there's a need for learning culture within an organization. So have a look at that and have a read of that, okay?
Okay.
So 4.1, analyze the characteristic of effective learning culture. So organizations that reinforce the value of continuous learning will be better equipped to thrive as well as survive during disruptions. A successful culture of learning provides opportunities to meet learners where they are in space where they want to learn more. So, you know, employees want to learn, you know, it involves identifying any sort of elements And, you know, it's important, it embeds learning into the place. You know, a supportive learning culture has different emphasis on it, you know, so, you know, when learning culture is embedded, you know, people feel that their visions are being, you know, looked at, but, you know, people have this culture of, you know, trying to you know, meet strategies and stuff. But when you have a good learning culture, you are getting your employers involved, you know, where you have a positive culture within the employment. So analyzing the characteristics of it. So the first one is emphasis on continuous learning. What this should be, there's always emphasis on continuous learning, okay? And there's a need to have continuous learning within an organization because it improves the organization, but it promotes the mindset of, you know, adaptation, you know, people learning new things and new skills. So, you know, you have to have a culture of continuous learning, and within an organization, you need to provide continuous training and skills for your employees. Open communication. A culture that encourages open communication fosters an environment where individuals feel comfortable to share things. You know, if you are working in an organization, you want to be able to share your ideas. You want to be able to share your, you know, if you have any concerns or if you have any feedback, you want to share that. You want this openness with your manager. You don't want to be feeling scared to go to your manager. You know, you want to foster that kind of environment where you want to feel comfortable. Some organizations, people don't feel comfortable going to their manager, okay?
Yeah.
And they're a bit scared and reluctant. Why do you think it's so important to have an open communication, Suleiman?
Yeah, okay. To have an open communication, it as you said, it helps you to feel comfortable to share an idea, as you already said it, and
Yeah.
it also helps you to gain more, because if you share an idea with your manager or supervisor, you are going to get a new knowledge or a new idea from your supervisor too. So it makes you feel comfortable too.
Yeah, and it's
It,
good to have that, you know, that kind of communication. It's
yeah,
very good to have that open communication with your manager or anyone,
yeah,
sharing any ideas, sharing any concerns, you know, it helps.
yeah,
Valuing learning and development. So in an affecting learning culture, learning are valued and recognized. You know, leaders actively support and invest any sort of training, any growth, any opportunities there are. You know, if you value that, you know, you're giving the opportunity to your staff to, you know, go up, maybe progression, you know, career progression. Supportive leadership, and I think this is really, really important in any organization. You know, having a supportive, effective leaders, you know, having this learning culture, you know, it is modeled by behavior. So, you know, they are there for guidance and support, you know, so having good leaders is really good. You know, they empower employees to, you know, do more training, take ownership of their growth, and support any sort of, you know, if you want to, you know, progress in a career path, they may, if you have a supportive leader, they will push you to do that,
yeah,
you know, and they will help you and support you.
yeah,
Learning opportunities. So a learning culture provides a variety of opportunities tailored to your individual's needs. These may be training programs, webinars, any sort of job learning, mentoring, self-learning, you know, self-directed learning. These are things that would help you improve your learning opportunities. So there needs to be a culture which provides a variety of learning opportunities for you as an individual and makes you feel valued as well, and achieves these by, you know, increasing your potential to go on to training courses or do workshops, things like that. Feedback and reflection. Again, it comes back to what we did in the learning outcome 2 and 3, where it looks at feedback. Feedback is a really important element, be it constructive feedback where you look at areas of improvement. It helps you as an individual. Okay, it helps you improve yourself and learn from your the feedback you get and reflect on it. Okay, and
Yeah.
also it identifies you for your future plans as well.
Yeah.
Learning from failure. I think people have to have some form of failure in their life to get better, and you learn from it.
Yeah.
You know, you learn from negative if anything happens.
Outcome. Yeah.
It's like it says, failure is viewed as an opportunity for growth. So, you know, you will come up with new ideas when you become better. So it's good to learn from failures. Knowledge sharing and collaboration. So collaboration and sharing with other team members, excuse me, is a way of learning new things because you can share ideas. Everyone has a different idea, and
Yeah.
you can share these ideas and become better like that. Adaptability and effect innovation. So an effective learning culture embraces adapting, recognizing the importance of staying agile and responsive to your needs. So it encourages creativity, experimentation, thinking outside the box. Inclusive and diverse is brings every people from individuals from different backgrounds together, and you learn different perspectives. So you may have a different perspective on something and the other person has a different perspective, but when you bring them together, diversity and inclusion, you're able to learn from each other as well. So by analyzing characteristics, organization can assess the strengths and weaknesses of their current learning culture and identify opportunities to improve and better support and personal professional development of their employees. So, you know, by identifying and looking and having this culture in place, this learning culture increases engagement and retention. And, you know, the employees feel that their organization values them and values their personal growth as well. So now we're looking at 4.2, which is to analyze the role of managers in personal and professional development of the professional development of others. So analyzing the role of managers, why do you think the role of managers is so important within personal and professional development?
Uh, Analyzing the role of managers is important. Yeah. To analyze the role of managers is important. It helps the organization grow because if you are a manager and you know your role, it helps the company to go forward.
Yeah, it does. And, you know, a good manager provides employers opportunities outside as well. You know, it supports them. It fosters this kind of environment of learning. So good managers, you know, the role of managers is really important in development, professional development of others, personal and professional development, because the manager is there to support the person and, you know, encourage that person.
Yeah.
So these are some of the aspects to consider when we're looking at that element. First one, setting clear and expectations and goals. So managers have this crucial role to encourage the employees to develop their skills and, you know, have their expectation in, you know, making sure that they have, you know, aligning their individual needs with the training. They're also responsible, need to consider providing guidance and support. Now, it's really important that managers provide guidance and support to their employees, offering them, you know, coaching, mentorship, and offering them, you know, opportunities to progress and to become better, you know, and to any sort of facilitate any sort of skills, development skills, or to assist them in facilitating their growth. So it's really important that they look at that. Offering opportunities for learning and development. So managers are responsible for identifying and offering opportunities for learning and development. They should offer opportunities for learning and development because, you know, they should be empowering their staff. You know, they should be making sure that they are empowering them, making them, you know, identifying any sort of opportunities you know, making sure that they are responsible for identifying any sort of learning and development for them. Encouraging continuous feedback and reflection. And here we go again back to feedback and reflection. Why is that so important? Reflecting. Managers promote the culture of continuous feedback. You know, they should be giving continuous feedback to their employees, and also giving them reflect, and employee need to reflect, self-assessment, you know, reflect on experiences, any sort of failures, set goals for improvement, any developmental areas, they need to be reflecting on them. Empowering employees to take their own ownership. So managers empower employees to take ownership of their personal and professional development by encouraging them. You know, managers would want to make sure that employees take ownership of their own decisions. You know, it may be the fact that, you know, if employers take ownership, they're able to build trust with their managers and other team members. You know, so it's really important of taking ownership, you know, trying to improve processes. Maybe an example would be, offering to volunteer for certain projects within the company, and sharing maybe innovative ideas on a product or the quality. So these are just some examples of empowering employees. Created a culture of learning and innovation. So managers foster a culture of innovation and creativity by encouraging experimentation, and, you know, getting their employees involved. And they promote an employee environment where employees feel comfortable taking risk, you know, sharing new ideas, making sure that, you know, they give them the element of, you know, trying to promote this way of thinking and improvement of work, you know, and getting them involved in things, you know, sharing their new ideas, taking on board what their perspectives are. Because some managers like to just manage. But when they, you know, when an employee wants to give an idea, some managers don't want to listen. But it's so important, you know, I mean, have you experienced that, Solomon, where you feel that when you're given an idea, some managers don't listen to you?
Oh no, I haven't felt that, but it's no good. But if I'm a staff and I want to share an idea and the manager doesn't mind me, I'm not going to feel comfortable, because it's, yeah.
Do you think it's important to get, you know, this idea of you know, creating this culture of learning and innovation, and then recognizing? Do you think it's good for the manager to you know, listen to you?
Yeah, it's good, because as a manager, you don't know anything. Maybe what I'm about to say, or what I'm going to share is very important. And if you didn't listen, it's going to affect me, the staff.
Yes. And is it good for sometimes managers to take your ideas and your perspectives in place as well?
Yeah, it's good,
Yeah, managers should, you know, it may be that it may not work, but at least they've listened to you. And that's really important as well. Yeah. Recognizing and rewarding growth and achievement. So managers should recognize that, you know, employees for their personal growth. So if they've done something good, or if they've done something, accomplished something, or contributed to something, you know, they should recognize that and value that as well. And, you know, they should reinforce this culture where learning and development are valued and incentivized. So, you know, give you maybe, you know, you've achieved something, they celebrate it by doing a team meeting, or giving you some gift vouchers or anything like that. So they should recognize and reward you for things.
Yeah.
Leading by example. So managers lead by example, demonstrating a culture to their own personal and professional development. So they engage in continuous learning, seek feedback, and actively pursue opportunities for growth. So they are your role models. So, you know, because they're leading by example, they're your role models, and they should encourage you to have continuous learning throughout your employment. supporting work-life balances, and sometimes some managers struggle to do this, to support your home life balance, to make sure that, you are able to, take on responsibilities at home, family responsibilities, and take that on board. Some managers struggle to do that, but it's really important that managers recognize that and look at taking on board the employer well-being, and encouraging things like family responsibility and outside personal growth. Managers should be doing that, but some managers do struggle to, advocate that kind of stuff. They don't like to try to, they don't encourage that. And, it's really good. A good manager provides an employee outside, opportunities outside, which is really good. And when a manager provides these opportunities outside, an organization will run more efficiently. And, they will be able to identify that our employees have this skill knowledge. They've been able to do this. So a good manager encourages its members of the team to develop their skills, and make sure they are, giving them opportunities to attend courses and conferences, to make sure that they have, they improve their skills. So, but sometimes it's difficult. I will say that, and some managers are difficult, but some managers would give you that opportunity. So advocating for resources, and that is managers advocate for resources, opportunities. Working with organizations can be key for resources when leaders see that requests directly relate to strategic initiatives. So managers advocate for resources and opportunities. They allocate budget, time, and training and development. So, they should put aside this time and resources that they are able to send their employees out. And they have, a budget time that they should allocate the staff. They have been given that time, they have been given that budget to deal with it. So, they need to be managers need to be taken on board that they've got sufficient time to allocate that person to go out and do any sort of training or development initiatives. By fulfilling these roles, effective managers can create a conducive environment for personal and professional development. So by a manager doing all this, it gives them, the element of, being a good manager, but providing, providing opportunities for their employees, empowering their employees, supporting their employees. The role of a manager, if it provides this kind of mentoring or coaching kind of role, then it will help its employees develop their skills. And it will grow the organization. So a manager needs to encourage that, to guide and support its employees. Good management can optimize, good productivity and engage employees and develop this culture of innovation. But not a good manager won't do that. So, it's really good to have, be fair as well, as a manager, make sure you are being fair and make sure you are providing these development needs for employees. Any questions?
No.
So now we'll move on to 4D1, and this is the distinction element. So when it comes to your assignment, you will look at the element of this. Okay, so this one is, and we'll go through that more then. Assessing how managers and team leaders can develop an effective learning culture. So it's really important that managers and team leaders develop this learning culture and put strategies in place to prioritize continuous learning. Managers are role models, and they are here to demonstrate how learning is part of everyone's life and role, and share their learnings in team trainings and, learning and supporting their employees to apply the learning into their culture. So it's really important that managers have this kind of culture to get their employees to learn new skills and to understand professional development. So there are some comprehensive assessments. First one, setting clear goals. Clear expectations. So managers and team leaders should clearly communicate expectations and encourage any sort of new development needs. And they should encourage any sort of idea of having an individual achieving their goals, making sure that managers, believe in people, believe in you as an individual and value your career goals. So they should talk with employees about personal goals and what their dreams are, long-term or short-term. And, making sure that they have this culture, they should understand what their employees actually do and what skills they need. And they should develop this culture and promote this culture by supporting independent learning and development. Leading by example, and that is the fact that, they're a role model and they're the ones that have been trained, they are managers, so demonstrating this commitment of professional feedback and giving professional development is a culture that needs to be adopted as well. Providing resources and support. Managers should be the one that provide resources and support, and this plays a critical role within any sort of supporting development initiatives. You as a manager should allocate time, as we mentioned earlier, resources, training programs, workshops. You should be sending your employees, and you should be making sure when you have these appraisals with your employee that you are able to identify what their needs are and what their skills are. You as a manager should be having these one-to-one appraisals, and identifying this. And, leading by example, is your actions and your attitudes and how powerful that message comes across. Encouraging knowledge sharing. Why is it good to encourage knowledge sharing?
It's good to encourage knowledge sharing because it helps you to get information from your staffs as a manager. Yeah.
Yes, from other team members. It promotes a good mindset with with the team. The managers should encourage employees to view any challenges as opportunities, growth rather than obstacles. This, they should foster a culture where employees are not afraid to give their ideas, and are not scared and are not reluctant. And, they should also foster this continuous learning and improvement. To create this learning environment, they should invest in employee development in regards to training needs. Offering constructive feedback. Again, effective managers and team leaders provide regular feedback to their team members on their performance. And, it's really good to provide feedback because, you as an employee need that feedback. That feedback's going to help you to improve, but, to develop as well and go on to new courses. Promoting continuous improvement, as we mentioned, to promote this mindset of continuous improvement by encouraging employees to, take on new courses and to, recognize and reward efforts as well. Another one is creating a safe learning environment. So managers and team leaders create a safe and supportive learning environment where team members feel comfortable taking risks, making mistakes, and, you need to have this environment in place where they feel like they are able to, create an atmosphere where employees are comfortable asking questions, sharing their ideas, and even making mistakes. And this involves cultivating a culture of psychological safety where employees are not afraid to voice their thoughts, as we mentioned earlier. They're not afraid to ask questions when they don't know something. At the company, some companies encourage new things like, a failure as a learning opportunity. Some companies encourage that. A failure is a learning opportunity and you develop and learn from that. And I think that's really good, that, where, it's a company, it's called Failing Forward. And this is where the company learns about, that if you fail in something, they encourage you to do something new and develop. So that's really good to have in place. Providing coaching and mentorship, and we mentioned that before as well. Effective managers and team leaders provide coaching and mentorship to support the professional development of their team members, offering guidance and encouragement. And that's really important to offer, building this culture and nurturing and making a continuous learning and, having this environment provides, an investment for employees. So facilitating learning opportunities, and that's like investing in your employees and making sure that, you listen to their ideas, but, actually investing in learning and development programs for them, continuous learning, encouraging them to pursue any sort of opportunities to growth, both outside and inside the organization, and investing in their future. That is really important. Evaluating and improving. So managers and team leaders continuously evaluate the effectiveness of learning initiatives and the overall learning culture with their teams. So, giving them feedback, tracking progress, learning goals, and making adjustments to enhance their learning. It sends a message to to employees that the organization values their growth and willing to invest in their future. So by providing all this, making a safe learning environment, making sure they're facilitating learning, evaluating and improving, encourages employees to feel like, the organization is looking after them, but it also is willing to invest in their future, maybe helping them, supporting them to, progress and in career paths as well. It's really important when we look at learning culture, because in today's changing world, a learning culture can be different between different businesses. And it is the main thing for innovation, adaptability, and resilience. Fostering this kind of environment where continuous learning is not encouraged but becomes part of the organizational. A learning culture empowers employees to upgrade their skills, adapt to new roles, and tackle challenges with a growth of mindset. So, it's really important to have this learning culture within your organization, and building an ongoing learning culture as well. So in conclusion, by assessing these factors, managers and team leaders can identify strengths, areas for improvement in developing an effective learning culture within their teams. They can implement target strategies and promote continuous learning, growth and development, ultimately contributing to the success and sustainability of the organization. Building a learning culture is an ongoing process, not a one-time initiative. It involves nurturing and an environment of continuous learning and growth, supported by leaders and managers who led by example, encourage a growth mindset, a safe learning environment, providing any sort of constructive feedback and investing in employee development. So it's really, really important, to invest in your employee development, providing the tools, supporting the employees, and, providing continuous learning. It's not easy, okay, for any organization to do that, but when you look at the rewards, increased productivity, innovation, employee engagement, and retention, for any organization, this makes it worth the effort. By building a learning culture in an organization and making sure that the strategies you use work for you, it becomes a learning journey for everyone, but it builds this organization as well. So now, I think this is the last. So we finished learning outcome 4 now, which is the final learning outcome. Just a summary of what we've done in learning outcome 4, so you've got a better idea, is we've looked at what effective learning culture is, why effective learning culture is so important, why appraisals are so important within a workplace. We looked at 4.1 to analyze the characteristic of effective learning, things like emphasis on continuous learning, open communication, feedback and reflection, learning from failure, knowledge sharing. We looked at the role of managers in personal and professional development of others. So examples would be setting clear expectations and goals, providing guidance and feedback, which is really important, offering opportunities for development and learning, encouraging continuous feedback and reflection. We looked at empowering employees to take their own ownership. And we looked at creating a culture of learning and innovation, which is so important within any organization to make sure you promote a culture where the employer feels comfortable. Recognizing and rewarding growth and achievement. So recognizing managers should recognize employees' personal and professional growth, and if there's any sort of achievements. Leading by example is a big one. By managers should be demonstrating a commitment to their own personal and professional development and encouraging continuous growth and feedback. Managers should be identifying that, we are there to identify that our personal growth will help the individual improve theirs. Supporting work-life balance, so making sure they are supporting their family responsibilities, things like that. Advocating resources. And then we looked at how managers and team leaders can develop effective learning culture by setting clear expectations, by providing resources and support for the individual, by encouraging knowledge sharing, promoting continuous improvement, by creating a workplace that is safe, evaluating and improving and facilitating learning cultures as well within an organization. So we've finished learning outcome 4 now, and I've just given you a recap of what we've done in learning outcome 4. Have you got any questions?
No, I don't have any question.
Okay, so these are some of the reference used for today's session that you could refer to as well, additional reading. And there's some additional reading, as I mentioned above, that you could go and look at any ebooks or on Moodle for this unit and additional reading. I gave you a link at the top that you could look at, which was the Sage link, that you could have some additional reading on learning culture and what it is as well. And there's a link there for you to have a look at how to create a learning culture. It's a video to watch in your own time as well. If you have any questions or queries, please email learnerwork@ukvarsity.co.uk. Submission of the assignment needs to be done on learnerwork@ukvarsity.co.uk, and this would be 2 weeks of completion of the unit. So the last session is next week, which is the assignment discussion session. So we'll collaborate everything and we'll get the assignment discussion session next week, and then you would be able to get on with the assignment, okay? And if you have any questions, I will support you throughout the assignment discussion session, okay?
Okay.
Have you any questions now before we finish the session?
No, I don't have question now.
Thank you, Suleiman, for attending today's session, and I will see you in the next session, which is next week.
Okay.
Good week.
Yeah, thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.